So I'm going to close it and I'm going to start that over. I'm glad I noticed that in like the first 12 seconds, not 2 hours later. This episode of Getting Table is brought to you by Valhalla Hobby. Use code TABLE to get 5% off any order over $100, one use only. That's valhallahobby.com. Also, please consider becoming a Patreon and supporting us for only $2 a month. You get early access to all videos and audio. Patreon.com/gettingtabled.
Brought to you by some guys on the internet.
This is Getting Tabled.
With your hosts Jason the Bruce,
You guy!
George the Yank,
I hope you are all entertained by my inaptitude.
Jason aka Major Socks.
We've been doing this and talking about various stuff. One of the stuff.
Now sit back, relax, and get tabled.
Hello, future people, and welcome to episode 131 of Getting Tabled with your host, the Bruce.
My lord, that was a long one. Hello, folks.
That's what
Welcome
she
to
said.
another... Well, sometimes you have that problem. Welcome to another episode, folks. It's already gotten crazy. We also have a man here with a major sense of deja vu. I said he was going to be Civvy Socks, but I don't think he's earned that right. It's Slime Socks.
Oh, slime now, huh?
Wow, that's even like uncalled for in my
worst.
book.
No, he called it Strike Team. He deserves everything he gets.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
You said Strike Team?
He did.
In the episode,
Okay,
yeah, I did.
So next week's
Twice.
episode, or next fortnight's episode, it'll just be George the Yank and Jason the Bruce. So we are going back to a 2-host structure.
All right, see you guys. I'm out. Anyways, yep, I'm here.
By the way, speaking of which, George, we have been vindicated.
Oh, yes,
We
I
got
remember this.
vindicated.
Yes. So,
For those that are not aware, the reason that we keep on going on about this is because Drop Squad Commander has accidentally been continually called Strike Team Commander. It's clearly very much an accident.
I also missed 90% of what you said because I unplugged my headphones so I could spin 360.
It's been a lot. We decided that no, we're just not going to stop with this. We're going to continue on with this running joke forever. We received word a week and a half ago that the owner of the company agrees with us. That Drop Squad is a better name.
he likes it better.
Thank you, Louis. We love being vindicated.
And we got George. So,
Do we?
No,
I'm George.
no, we don't have George. So, anyways, we got a lot of news.
Hug me and squeeze me and pet me and call me George.
No. You can squeeze and pick yourself. You got enough dogs; they can do it for you.
Newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent or important events.
Let's talk about the one thing that I don't see on the sheet here because I don't know where you put it.
It's the end of the Games Workshop stuff.
It's the end of the Games Workshop stuff? I don't see it on my
Yes.
list yet.
No, because I just added it to my tabs because it was a last-minute addition.
Gotcha. Okay, so Skaven Warlock Engineer.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm listening to the Gotrek series with Sam, and we just got to Dragon Slayer, and the stupidity of superiority that the Skaven have is paralleled by none. It's absolutely brilliant. Like they're like, oh, I can make a dwarven thing better. No, you can't. But go ahead and think that, rat man.
The
this
thing I
mini
love
looks
about the Skaven is that if they actually worked together at all, even vaguely, they would destroy everything. But because they spend all of their time arguing, they're never actually going to succeed at anything. It's just glorious.
But this the Skaven engineer, Skaven Warlock engineer, freaking brilliant. Like, this is the most Skaven I have seen.
Yeah. if you look out, it actually kind of looks like a platypus.
Yeah.
Because of the
But that's
shoulder
'cause
pad,
it's-
it kind of looks
Yeah,
like a
shoulder
bill.
pad.
And
I
then
could
people
see
got
that
disappointed
kind of,
when they
yeah.
saw that it was a rat. I actually really like this mini, honestly. I mean, I know it's only one mini, but obviously because they're going to be in the starter set, we're starting to see teasers of what's coming in the box. This is another one of these armies where we're losing all of the existing stuff. But in the case of Skaven, most of the stuff that's being taken away probably should have been replaced a decade ago because they're all very old sculpts. Some of those sculpts hold up, but a lot of them don't.
So here's my 2 cents on the Skaven, right? So the Skaven are very much a horde army. They are the horde army to end all horde armies. And the problem with horde armies is you have to have 30 gajillion minis to have 50 points.
Yep.
And when you do that, you start to have everything looking alike. So
And
to
they're
get something
replacing
new,
all of the infantry.
yeah. So to do something like that, like it's such a breath of freshness. Like it's not like Custodies where it's like, I have 3 minis. Oh wow, you got a 2,500 point army. Like it's super easy to have uniqueness versus, it's that difference of. So to see something new and fresh is great. Like I'm not gonna crap on Games Workshop for what they're doing with the Skaven. Stormcast, that's different story.
We are not in favor of the decision to just cancel everything. But sometimes replacing things is actually needed. So it's a delicate balance, and in some ways the decisions that they've made make a lot of sense. In other ways, they're a bad precedent to... So I don't actually have a problem with the fact that Warhammer Fantasy was cancelled back in the day, even if it was something that upset a lot of people.
I had a huge issue with it.
A lot of people did, and I understand why those people did. But I didn't play Fantasy, so I didn't actually have any interest.
Because Bruce isn't that cool.
Well, I was more interested in skirmish-sized battles anyway, so it became a game that I was more interested in. But to change your business model to not just, okay, we're getting rid of things, but to outright ban the use of older models is
I think
dangerous.
ban is the wrong word to use. I think discontinue
No, they
and
are-
prohibit.
They
discontinue
are
and
banning them in competition.
and
Casual
prohibit
is another thing.
use.
Yeah.
I was gonna say prohibit use. Banning is like a completely that is like the ultimate bad word. Like if you look at Magic the Gathering, they have ban lists. Like any sort of play that is not casual,
Okay.
there are certain cards that are 1,000%. You cannot use them because of imagery used, like Prejudice. Folks, if you don't know what card I'm talking about, go look up Magic the Gathering Prejudice. You will see why this card is 1,000% banned from any sort of use.
To be
But
fair, that's not the only reason they ban things. Sometimes they ban things just purely because they're broken.
Yeah. So
They don't know
I
how
think
to
the
wipe
better word
things.
is prohibited from use, I think is a better word to use. But yes,
I said this last episode, and I'm going to remind people of it again. If you're playing casually, it doesn't matter. You can play with whatever you want. But if you're somebody that enjoys playing competitively, I'm not, then that's where you're going to be disappointed. But let's move on, because I know we have...
I'll throw this out there too. If you're playing casually and you're all home, you don't even have to wear pants.
True. Yeah, that's true.
That's how casual play can be. If you're doing this in the store, I highly recommend you adhere to their dress code.
And
more Tau.
Yep. So, a couple of things with this. Firstly, in Australia, these aren't on pre-order this week because it's been delayed in Australia again. This seems to be a running trend lately. Not only does Australia pay the third most in the world, but we're also getting things at least a week later than everybody else now as well.
Bruce, how does it feel to replace Ireland as the redheaded stepchild?
Sure. Ireland don't get delayed with releases, though.
Exactly. So the traditional redhead stepchild is no longer the redhead stepchild. You are.
So, this is the new Combat Patrol. We are starting to see these come out with every force now. The old Combat Patrol had still been around. It was actually quite a nice box set, but this one is the new one. You get a commander, you've got some fire warriors and stuff, and you've got your devilfish. I actually think it's a nice box, honestly. I actually think this works quite nicely. If you want to play Tau. If you want to play somebody else, then it's not going to help you at all. But
I will give Games Workshop this. So the only time I've been to San Diego Comic-Con was the year that they released the Tau. And it's changed so little since then. And it still looks so damn good.
yeah.
Like, it's not my type of army. I don't want to do Gundams or stuff like that, but I can appreciate the aesthetic of it. Also, I saw someone, they spend their time modding Warhammer things, and they, the little $20 drones that are like this big, they attached a devilfish body to it, so the devilfish could hover like a drone.
Nice.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, they also converted a Melta on a Dreadnought show to actually shot flame.
There's this growing trend of people making RC cars and RC planes out of Warhammer stuff at the moment, which is just glorious. But yeah, that's it.
I mean, it's Tau. It looks good. I don't want to play it because I'm not all for the greater good.
No, look, I'm not buying this either because I'm specifically Kroot. There are some things that I may buy from the Tau list, but it will be to convert them, not to use them. For example, a hammerhead. I will be doing a Kroot hammerhead at some point, and I already know how I'm doing it. But let's move on to arguably the biggest news Games Workshop for.
The biggest news that could be something huge or absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So it became public information the day after it was done. The CFO of Games Workshop sold off over 700,000 sterling pounds of Games Workshop stock.
So that's about 1.4 million Australian dollars.
Yeah, so I mean, that is a huge chunk of money. I will do the conversion of that. So, and that could be one of two things. One, it is known that she is stepping down next year, which, after doing a job for so many years or accumulating X amount, it's like people will want to step down and enjoy life if they can. Mm-hmm. That's great. $875,000 US approximately. Or because she is the CFO, and this is also part of the reason why she has to announce that I have sold this, is because she is the CFO. She is seeing a trend within the company, and it falls in line of, let's cancel models, so we have to sell more product because we're saying you can't use this in tournaments anymore. You have to buy this now. We've canceled this. You have to buy. They're trying to push sales up. Why do companies have to push sales up? Because sales are bad and they're not making the money they are expecting to be making, and shareholders are getting upset or wondering, why are you not selling like you were? And that's why people will sell off $700,000 or 700,000 pounds worth of stock of the company you work for.
Yeah. So there's a few things to this. First and foremost, evidence tends to suggest that sales are quite fine at the moment. There is a lot of fans that are taking this news and really running with it to some absolutely ridiculous levels. There has actually legitimately been people out there trying to speculate that the fact that Games Workshop has cancelled models is the reason why she's selling all of this, because she's like, oh, it's going to the company's going to die, and it's just, I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that this person is into the hobby? Yes, by all means, there's certainly a chance in that. But generally speaking, most people that work on a board of directors are there for business and would very rarely actually have an interest in the product themselves, because it's generally seen as bad to have an interest in a product that your company sells at that level. Not exclusively, but generally speaking. It's more likely that, yes, she's either drumming up capital for whatever her next venture is going to be, or because I don't know how old the person is, but they could be retiring early or something.
Yeah, we haven't looked at, well, and to be honest too, like if she has the ability of, she's liquidating that to get cash, right?
Yeah.
After taxes and stuff like that, that's a huge chunk of money, which, that could go buy a house, that could be like,
it could also be reducing what they see as risk. I'm not going to be involved in this company any longer, therefore I can't help guarantee that it's going to continue doing well. I'm going to get out now just in case it goes bad.
Because this is also public information that she is stepping down within a year. So, it could just be like, I'm leaving this company. I'm not going to hold any more stake in this company. I'm selling off.
Yeah.
It could be
she
as
still
simple
has
as that.
stock. She's just sold a very large part of it.
Yeah. So, and usually, people who attain positions at a company that size of CFO, they're the people that do get to retire early or do get to go have more fun because, well, they know how to manage money. That's why they have chief financial officer as their title. So, but nonetheless, it is still huge news.
Oh, yeah, this is massive news. But when it comes to things like this, read the articles and stop listening to the opinions of people that are guessing things. I mean, yes, we are guessing things as well, but make up your own mind about things. Don't just repeat stuff that you hear online because it's just ridiculous.
Don't take 100% stock in the YouTube videos out there with clickbait titles, us included.
I can only think of one occasion where I've ever used anything that was clickbait, and the clickbait that I used was actually something that was discussed in the episode.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, don't take those at face value. Don't take us at face value. We're not Games Workshop employees. We don't look at their books. We don't know anything. We're also just speculating. We're speculating, and we're trying to be somewhat of an adult, reasonable manner, which we're not. So, okay,
well,
maybe Socks is.
Socks and I are, but not so much George.
No, you're not. You are absolutely not. Socks is the only close one to.
How dare!
–
Exactly.
That's me.
All right. Next on the list, though, we've got some 3D printable terrain from Cities in Ramshackle and Ruin.
Yeah. And this is nice.
Yeah, so printable scenery, we've spoken about these guys a few times. This is somebody that we probably should do an indie on at some point and actually look over some of their old stuff. Ramshackle and Ruin is very much like a fantasy pirate-themed type set.
So to put it in pulp culture, that everyone has seen, this is Lake Town from the Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'll give you that, 100%. I like the fact
this is
that
what I'm here is the pulp culture references. That's all I'm good for.
The thing I like about printable scenery is 9 times out of 10, if they're going to do something, they will either do a complete and a Ruin version of it, or in the case of like this, there was this city set that they did a while ago where they also did the underground set of that as well. And there's usually at least 2 sides of every campaign that they do. This one, however, is not on Kickstarter. They're doing it themselves this time. I guess they've figured that they have enough of a following that they don't need to rely on Kickstarter any longer. So taking the black site.
You're saying a company has decided that they've maybe gotten too big for Kickstarter and they're just doing it on their own?
Amazing, right?
What?
Crazy, right?
It's just crazy talk.
First of all, their studio painter or whoever they pay to paint this stuff, they do too good of a job because if I were to buy this to print it, I could never make it look like this. So,
yeah, it's offensively good. How dare they? I still kind of I want to do a section of talking about people painting and then going, this is really good. How dare you? You should be killed. Which is something that we joke about privately all the time. About this person is too good. They're not allowed to be this good.
Stop showing off.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a few nice things here. Like we're showing out that it's all modular. You can kind of change how it goes together and so on. This is kind of how their line works. It always has. But we also have ruined versions of everything, like I hinted at earlier. We have corpse piles for the scenarios where that's important.
Because you can never have enough corpse piles sometimes.
Never.
Yeah. I really like the catch of the day, honestly.
I do too, with the shark hanging there.
Yeah,
Wait, am I missing that? Okay, let me find that.
about halfway down.
Right below the corpse piles. If you look at the...
Okay, there we go. Oh, I thought it was a shark eating someone.
No, I mean, you might be able to get away with that.
Could.
You'd need a bigger image of the actual shark itself to figure that out, I think. I actually quite like the fisherman scatter as well. You got the mayor, you got the City Watch headquarters, and then we start seeing what the unlocks are with the tombstones and the ramshackle rocks and so on and so forth. I really like what they're doing here.
Can I get you to scroll up real quick so I can point something out, Bruce?
Yes?
Okay, so you got the first picture where it says Ramshackle and Ruin, and you got the entire city there.
Yes.
The next group of photos down, you got the three, photos side by side.
Yes.
You've got the same base, right? And they're just taking off a level, putting it on top. Then they take off a level, put it on... Like that right there.
Yep, that's why I said that it's modular.
I just like pointing out when companies do that.
Yeah.
Like, I could go through and print everything off on the left-hand photo. And then, depending on what I want to do, I can make look like any of the three photos.
Yeah.
Like, that's so important for, I don't need three different buildings. I just need one, and I can, take it apart. Like, for storage, sitting at home, whatever. Like, that's so great. I want
to play a game this weekend, but I've only printed this one building so far. That's okay. Let's make it 3 buildings. We've got a gondola on top, we've got a small building in the middle, and we've got a larger building on the bottom.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I think that is probably one of the best things that I've seen done in this hobby. TT Combat's doing it. These guys are doing it. Like, the people who go through and give you multiple options from one object, you are the unsung heroes when it comes to terrain, in my opinion.
No,
I even like the little core bells. The little... Where the archers, right below the Merchant Guild picture. Where the posts are...
Guild picture. Oh! The flag type things.
Yeah. The core bells, as they're called.
And, yeah.
The sailors and the dragon.
Yeah.
Carved into them as part of the structure.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of just a regular 45-degree angle support brace, you've got those designs to go along with it.
Adds flavor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, you could print out multiple copies of this and then use the different themed core bells to make them look like different buildings rather than repeats.
Yeah.
So it looks like everything that's a stretch goal has been unlocked at this stage. I'm just Yep, so everything's unlocked. No, sorry. We still have the dragon for ruins and the boats and the bosun's bunkhouse to go.
Bracing for Ruins, Bosun's Bunkhouse, Game Planks, and the Ruin City expansion.
Yeah.
Oh, and then but it also says still more to come.
More to come.
Yeah.
So
I like this. I think it looks glorious. I also like this because I love the fact that they've finally moved off Kickstarter. Printable scenery have been around for donkey's years at this stage. They are huge within certain elements of the community, largely within D&D. This is one of the really big D&D print your own terrain type companies that's been around forever. They're actually based in my area of the world. Wait, is it?
Can I just say something? How dare you make fun of myself and Socks for our imperial measurement system, and you use a term like donkey's years?
Hey, I don't use bananas to measure how thick the snow is.
It's an accurate form of measurement.
No, it's not. Bananas are all different sizes.
anyways,
moving on to Monolith, I have a little funny side story to this right here, but go for it.
Is it because you've noticed that they're one of the companies that's purchased somebody else's IPs?
Well, it's not that, but yes, there's something else very specific. But Bruce, go ahead and introduce this.
All right. Oh, well, this is annoying. It didn't link me directly to the actual picture. So, Monolith Games have purchased. Here we go. It's about 5 or 6 articles down. They have announced that they have just gotten permission from the Paris commercial courts to be officially signed all of the Rackham company's IP. Now, why is this such a big deal? Rackham is a game that at one point was huge. They had really, really good models. They were really, really popular. They started doing pre-paints at some stage, and apparently they were fine. They were fine. Pre-paints, even today, tend to either be very average or they're fine. And the company kind of fell over not long after they kind of went pre-paint, either because, depending on who you want to believe, it's either because they should never have gone pre-paint, or it's just because the industry wasn't ready for pre-paints at that stage. I tend to lean towards the latter, given when it was. Because even then it was still a few years before pre-paints actually became an acceptable part of the hobby. This is kind of huge. Rackham, like the game Rackham, still has a decent following. We looked at an indie about a month and a half ago of one of the original sculptors kind of doing his own thing with the same style. This is big. Monolith are the company that did the really big Conan game, where it's like a dungeon crawler but for Conan. And they've done like a Batman one and stuff in the past as well. They are also one of the companies that purchased
lots of things from Mythic.
Yeah, they purchased the Mythic Legion stuff, which I assume
Solomon
is
Kane.
what you want to discuss, but I could be wrong.
Well, so yes, this is a little arbitrary side note because the link you posted, I clicked on it. It didn't take me to that either, but it brought up some other information that and this is on the Monster Apocalypse fan page. I'm not sure if it's the one that Mythic admins. They've now gotten to the habit of they'll post something and turn off comments so people can't comment on their new post now, which that's not a great sign either. But someone was losing it that they're back on Kickstarter with Solomon Kane and Mythic Battles, thinking that it was Mythic Games again.
Yeah, which is not. That's just people not paying attention, but I understand why they're not paying attention.
Well, sorry. Well, Mythic Battles, that's pretty easy to confuse. Also, since the previous editions of it says Monolith Games and Mythic Games on the box. So, for those out there who aren't up on the news, Mythic Games is not back on Kickstarter. They are still trying to fight for air as they're drowning in their issues. Yeah. Which they shipped out copies of Siege 6 to French backers, but they shipped English copies, not French copies.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that they were shipping it.
Yeah. They had to release a PDF version of the rulebooks for French saying, hey, sorry, here's the French copy. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of what most of us were expecting at this point. Because they've pretty much cancelled all of the other language stuff. Monolith are a company that actually has a decent reputation, so I want to make that very clear.
Yes, yeah.
Mythic are a company that we will continue to sit here and say, do not give Mythic any of your money under any circumstances. Do not give Mythic any of your money under any circumstances.
If you are in a shop and you can put your hands on a physical copy of something, part ways with your money if you choose to. Don't do it through their website. Mm-hmm. Don't order something from them online and hope it shows up.
There is a reason they are not allowed on Kickstarter.
Or GameFound. Actually, GameFound took a stronger stance on than Kickstarter did. But moving on to GCT Studios, Bruce.
Yeah.
That's got you up in arms, but not GT Studios specifically.
Look, it's disappointing news, this one. I want to make it clear, this is not the end of the world, and actually none of this has anything to do with GCT themselves. In Australia, we have 2 major distributors for tabletop games. 3 if you want to include Games Workshop, because they do their own distribution. I am not including Games Workshop in that. One of those major distributors have made the decision, and it's a business decision, that they will no longer be restocking Bushido. This is disappointing for a number of reasons. I won't say what my source is. All I will say is that a bear was whispering in the woods, which pretty much tells you exactly who it was.
Does he shit in the woods too?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, this is news that comes from Brother Bear, because he was questioning if something was going to be back in stock soon because he wanted to buy it, and he got told that no, because we will not be stocking this any longer. So if you're someone that is into Bushido and the combat company are holding a model that you want, I would be recommending to buy it now, because you will not be able to buy it in Australia for very much longer. The other distributor hasn't been carrying Bushido for many years. They got priced out of the market by their competitor. But
they're not going to have a competitor, so...
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're going to pick it back up. The current owners of the distributor in question is an amazing guy, and I have a lot of respect for him. His predecessor was very dodgy, and I have very little respect for his predecessor, because I got ripped off by him. But there was a few things that was going on for a while. It's the same reason why we lost access to TT Combat stuff for a while in Australia, because one of them was kind of making sure that the other one had no reason to stock it, and then kind of running it down, and then they kind of had exclusive access to it. Without exclusive access, if that makes sense. So it's difficult. But there is a brighter side to this. You can actually still buy all of this stuff from GCT Studios. And I'm going to sit here right now and say something very, very clearly, because I have not made this very clear on the podcast in the past, because I tend to be someone that sits here and say you should support your locals. We don't actually have the option of supporting our locals anymore. But if you order directly from GCT Studios, in my experience, at minimum, it'll cost you the same amount of money. Most of the time, I saved money because I bought directly from GCT Studios. If you're buying one or two models, you will find that it kind of comes out even-ish, maybe a little bit more. But if you're buying a decent amount of stuff, you will save money. Just buy directly from GCT. Seriously, it takes about a week and a half to 2 weeks to get here. It's coming from the UK, therefore we don't have to pay the stupid monopoly money from the US. There's really no loss here. And actually, to be fair, it means that you're supporting GCT more because they get to keep more of that profit.
Mm-hmm.
They're not sharing it. So,
Yep.
GCT Studios are a small company. Most of those employees work second jobs. Support GCT Studios. I would love to see that company grow even bigger.
I'm still eyeing getting a box of the Fox Army, even though I haven't gotten anything else for the game, nor put the other stuff together yet. So
you should have a game with Sam.
I should, yes.
Watch mine and Ben's video, because we tell you how those models work.
Yeah. If anything, I at least want to get the mat. I found a mat, and I can't remember who it was, and it's one of the ones we've recommended in the past. I've had the page open for the last 3 months.
Battle Kiwi?
It might be Battle Kiwi.
I know they sold 2 foot by 2 foot grass mats for a while.
It is matsbmars.com. It is Bushido player aid mat, so it has like player aid stuff on the mat with like the playing field. So I'm gonna get my hands on one of those, so it's like I have like 90% of what I need on that. So
yeah, because it'll have your lines and everything on it. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. So
no, that's good. So that's it. It's not like, is it disappointing? Of course it is. But I would this isn't the end of the world. Like it's disappointing because we don't have the option to support local companies on this anymore.
Well, and the first thing I said too when you spoiled that to us in our host chat was, you did figure out that freight forwarding issue.
Yeah.
For ordering stuff that saved you a crap load of money. So
I don't actually need to do it with this though.
Yeah, but like, if you did, like, they're still even a better option than like what you could be looking at having to do. So, but as you said, it just gives you the option to more directly support GCT, with your wallet than what you're doing in the past. So,
Yeah. Pretty much.
Next on the list, I'm going to need you to explain this because these are some of the weirdest looking things I have seen.
Yeah, these Quars.
What the heck is this, Bruce? Is this some weird Australian thing that only exists in your country, or what?
It's not. This is not an Australian company at all.
What the hell are these things?
They are Quars. They're meant to be weird. I want to say that this is an English show from our childhood, but I could be wrong on that. I know that I've seen the Quars somewhere, but I don't know where I've seen them.
What's this our thing? I'm sorry, we're not Commonwealth. We kicked the UK out and said, go on, do your own thing. You're the one that's part of the Commonwealth, so this is still squarely on you, sir.
I'm confused as to how you're getting our from what is a Q.
You said our childhood. No, we did not have this in our childhood.
Nope.
I meant the time of our childhood. It comes from England. I didn't even say it was my childhood. I just said the time of our childhood. I think this was a show from England during our childhood.
If I don't know it exists, it can't be part of mine. I had half-naked muscle guys and military propaganda cartoons.
Yeah, that's right.
It's true. But there are shows that existed that you didn't pay attention to. Just because they weren't your interest doesn't mean they didn't exist.
The one thing I will say about these minis, there's no eyeballs that you can see to paint.
I actually really, really like the design of the Quar. I can't even really explain why. So I believe that the idea, like there are eyes there, but you can't see them because they're hidden by the hats. I believe is the idea. Does that make sense? No, but I think it's not supposed to make sense.
For the people listening to the audio version, these look like spotted earthworms with arms and legs, kind of like Earthworm Jim almost, but
I could see that, or
not.
anteaters.
No, more. They're more like a worm with arms and legs.
Yeah. So this is it's very, very, very weird. So the Long War, it's kind of based around World War I-ish, 2-ish. It's kind of very loose in that way. But it's not humans, it's all Quar. We have a 2-player starter set. We have infantry that you can buy, as well as some specific heroes that you can buy. This is all by Wargaming Atlantic, by the way. So the 2-player starter set is, at least in Australia, it's around $125. But comes with heaps of stuff. You get basically one lot of infantry from each team, plus you get the rule book, you get dice. Like, it's a game in a box, as it should be, basically.
I'll mention this too. It's plastic sprue. It's not resin, so the quality you can expect out of this box is going to be like, as good as Games Workshop or whoever else is doing plastic sprue work, because you don't have to worry about the resin issues. So,
yep. Wargames Atlantic actually have a pretty good reputation for their casting too. This is a company that's kind of like brought things to life. Like they did the alternate Catachan models that we looked at a little while ago. The Reptilian Overlord ones. Where 3D prints and they brought them to life.
I get that, but resin still has, the issue of, Steve has a bad day in QA and misses, 3 models. And they go out and they... So, you typically don't have that with plastic because it's, it's injected. There's checks and balances on how those machines work. Beyond the fact that these look so strangely weird, these do look good. And the fact that, $80 you can get like, a 2-player, army kit and start playing right out the box. This is the pinnacle of getting people in a game.
Yeah, 100%. You can actually expand them and actually have a look at bigger prints. There is like, as much as these are all the same animals, there is significant differences between the way that the armies look. I mean, you could also make the colours of the minis help with that as well, but they almost seem to be wearing almost the same thing but painted differently, but there's very clear differences between them as well. One of the forces is called the Crusaders, and the other force appears to be called the Coftrians, or Coftirans. It's a word that I don't recognise. So, there we go.
They just look strange.
Oh yeah, they 100% look strange.
Speaking of strange, what's new with weird?
Yes! Where's my weird one? There it is. We have a global campaign happening. So this was actually announced April 10th, but we didn't have time to talk about it last episode. I'm just going to kind of touch on this very briefly. So if you're looking at the video version of the podcast, you will see this character here about just after the first paragraph. She seems to be the main character of this campaign. We don't really know anything about her yet, but we will learn stuff about her during the campaign itself. So the campaign is called Echoes of the Breach, Fractured Futures. So I suspect that we're going to be seeing some time shenanigans here. There's a download of the first part of Naya's story, which is the main character for this. This is set to unfold from now, because it started on April 17th, through till May 31st. And basically, players can report their games and directly influence the Malifaux storyline. So this is something that we do quite frequently, where there's like a couple of things that may happen depending on how the campaign goes, and it actually becomes canon to the story. There's a few companies that do things like this. Games Workshop is not one of them, because they will control their narrative at all times.
Yeah, this is very reminiscent of the what's that spaceship MMO? There was just a Kickstarter not that long ago for a board game version of it. It's gonna drive me nuts. Space MMO. Eve Online.
Oh, Eve, yeah.
Where like, you know, like there's a council of people in the real world who have such a position in the game can get together with the game designers and say, this needs to happen because we are who we are in the game.
Yeah.
It's very, very reminiscent of that. That's cool.
But it's based on the actual events of the campaign.
Sure, yeah.
And not the opinion of certain people. Which I would argue is a better way of doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. It's just a nice, simple one. I just kind of thought it was worth talking about, especially with like things moving on.
Hey, Socks, are you a pro painter?
No.
Do you want to have a display stand for your mini so you look like a pro painter?
No.
Well, too bad.
Well, you
talk
totally
about
ruined the segue then. Jeez. Pay attention.
No, I was just going through them, and some of them do look nice. I mean, I can see where
I will say this:
pro
this
painters
is
would.
People either will like or they won't. There is not going to be much of a middle ground here.
Bruce, can you agree with me though? I was setting up a perfect segue, and he just ruined it.
Oh yeah. Everything that follows is Sox's fault. He ruined everything.
To reinforce the other statement, next fortnight we'll be returning to a 2-host format. No, I'm kidding, Socks. We'll keep you around to kick you around some more.
I know. That's what I'm here for.
So, Saucerman Studios, we have actually looked at these guys a couple of times before. This is another company that realistically I should do an indie on at some point, because they have a lot of really good things. So these are modular displays for hero characters. I would probably argue you don't want to use the actual display part of this for for an actual tabletop game, but for RPG characters, most definitely.
Well, so let me.
But it's modular, so you could just take the other bit off.
I was going to say, let me enhance your statement with that a little bit. These display stands are very reminiscent of the Forge World Primark displays, where you have the big elaborate display and you can pick the Primark up and out of it. And he's based, he has the base with him. You've just removed him from the display stand. These are very reminiscent of that, but something you can print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of like, we've seen a few print options that's been happening lately. Some of which were like, I don't understand why people haven't done this earlier. And others that are kind of like, I can see what you're trying to do, but this is just a bit too far. I actually really, really like this.
No, this is brilliant. This is absolutely like stunning.
This is the sort of thing that I could actually see somebody paying a license to actually make plastic versions of. I will go that far with this. It is that good of an idea. I don't think that this is the sort of thing that would be a multi-billion-dollar company, but it's definitely something that could make some good money.
Yeah, this is definitely the kind of thing where it's like, you know, it could fund a good holiday for a week.
Yeah.
Without breaking a sweat.
So we've got some grimdark chambers. We've got some gothic factories. We've got a star cruiser. We've got forbidden cults. We've got gothic ruins. We have ancient aliens. We have galactic destroyers. We have spaceship wreckage. So all of this is pretty much sci-fi. I mean, there's a couple.
There's a couple of.
You got some fantasies.
Yeah, there's one that's a chaos emblem, which you know you could like.
Which could be used either way. Yeah.
Yeah. And what? Let's see.
I like that 60... it's modular.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, $41 US, 62 Australian to get everything. And you can literally custom make whatever display stand you need.
Yeah.
And as mentioned earlier, you know, it's like, you know, you could do if you're a pro painter and you do Golden Demon, this is perfect. But if you happen to be the guy that can also Golden Demon and plays the game, you know, you can pluck it out on its, you know, of its display stand and just have it based in the game and show off like, oh yeah, I painted that. No big deal. You know, it's no big thing.
And they have shown evidence of it working on both FDM and resin printers. I like the fact they've gone to the effort to actually show that. Because a lot of them are kind of like, it should work, but I don't know. They've actually shown it. You've also got freestanding display plinths, which is a little bit duller, but obviously still, like, if you're a pro painter, then you want to actually sculpt your actual thing yourself, because pro painters don't use pre-made things. And then you've got different versions of the bases with like decorative elements around them and different floor updates. And I really like the tech pedestals. I think that might be my favorite personally. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, there's more to see, but as far as discussion point, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, there's floor cutaways and bases.
Yeah,
you can actually make your own display. Oh, that's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, this is the kind of things of like, if Games Workshop actually thought of this and did this first, they would make so much money on this. Like, forget like, you know, here's the newest, latest, greatest army. Yeah, cool. I need like 30 of these bases though.
Yeah. I really like what they're doing here. I really do.
This is probably one of like, and I've tried to get a lot better about it, about Shiny Syndrome, and like, you know, like, ooh, I gotta have this. This is one of those things where, you know, you guys have heard me bitch to no end about like, I hate the tactical rock, I hate this. This I can get behind because I can make every single decision about the basing and add to it.
Yeah. And for the record, George, you're not the only one that complains about the tactical rock. It is a growing complaint that people have.
Right. I'm talking amongst the three of us. though.
Oh, I know. I'm just giving you credit that you're not actually the only person in the world that complains about it.
In reality too, if they had better fantasy options, I would pledge this and print a base for the skink for our painting comp.
Yeah.
That we need
Yeah.
to, wait till
Finish up.
Sox gets moved again.
Yes. We
I
do.
apologize, everyone.
Like I would do that. Like I would print one of these off and be like, oh yeah, here's my skink. Oh yeah, custom basing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Otherwise, we're going to sit here.
Simulator
and talk
soccer.
forever. This kind of caught me off guard. Like this
This
is
kinda
a
looks
board
intriguing.
game. Yeah, I actually really like what I see here. So this is a
Real fantasy football?
Yeah.
So it's Tiddlywinks, but with soccer elements. For those that don't know what Tiddlywinks is, I'm sorry, I guess. So this is... It's really hard to explain this. They just... it's a soccer game. It's a soccer simulation, but...
You have a soccer field with hexes on it, and you have these little 1-inch tubes that are your soccer players.
Yep, and you actually have to use the tube to flick the ball. Not like hit it. Like you have to squeeze the ball so the ball like goes and jumps over players and stuff. It's probably the closest to simulation soccer you could do as a board game.
I've come up with the way to describe it. It is Blood Bowl meets foosball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really, really like what they're doing with this.
And the cool thing is you got blank tubes that then uses stickers, and you can build your own team from around the world. So you have a favorite football club that you like, and you could build a team that's based around them.
Yep.
Or whether it's the Premier League, the Youth League, the U.S. leagues, take your pick. You can build
the
whatever.
U.S. leagues are referred to as MLS. Their Sox.
I know, but most of the people aren't going to know that around the world.
Well, you need to use the correct terminology so they're educated properly.
Okay, good.
How dare you,
Anyways.
Sox? The thing I really like about this, like the thing with foosball is like, yes, you flip the things around and it kind of like, it just hits it. But it's pretty much, it's always a flat kind of hit. There's none of these arcing kicks like you get in real life. You can actually do that with this, and they're showing you. Because that's kind of like how Tiddlywinks works, is that you've got these flat coins, and you've got to use one coin to flick the other one and jump it over the others. But this is a ball and not just a coin.
One field, 35 pawns, 32 stickers.
It's also not that expensive.
You get
really
referees
affordable.
too.
Yeah.
You have referee stickers, so you can make your own referees that you can like throw across the room when you get mad at the ref.
I like that. I don't really see the point of the ref, but I guess that's all right. I guess it's there to be in the way.
That or it allows you to like I'm sure there's some sort of like you can use the ref to make some sort of ruling if it's in a certain position or something like that, or I mean, there's got to be a reason for it. And then, holy smokes, yeah, if you go down to the add-ons, you have national teams, club teams, you have U.S. teams, Italian, Spanish, English, Portuguese, Turkish, Netherlands, French teams, Brazilian, Argentinian,
this is a really, really simple idea, but it's a simple idea that works. Like, this is a board game that shouldn't be expensive to ship because it's essentially just tubes and stickers and a mat, right?
And a mat.
Well, yeah, and the mat rolls up, too, so it's not even flat packed.
Yeah, it's like a neoprene style mat.
Like, you could ship this in, like, a poster tube.
Yep. I think this is just this just hits it out of the park for me. This is a cheap-looking game that, and I don't mean that in a negative sense, like it's very affordable, but it's not affordable in the way where you're sitting here going, I don't think this is going to work. Like, this just makes sense. I can already see how they're making money out of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a very reasonably priced game
Yeah.
that looks beyond that of your, big box store board games.
Mm-hmm.
I really like what they're doing here, and I genuinely think this could be big.
This is really neat. If I was, if I liked soccer, I would like this more.
Scrolling down even further, it talked about the timeline of the Kickstarter. So the Kickstarter started this month. They plan on shipping by July.
Yeah,
Of this
I
year.
don't see them living.
Yeah,
up to that.
I don't see why this would take so long.
Yeah.
To be fair, like, they're doing this to get people to pre-order the game and build, because they've already, like, they don't really need to be on Kickstarter beyond the fact that they need people to know that it exists, right? Because they've already started
Yeah.
paying for their manufacturing.
I'd say the most difficult thing of this whole process is probably getting the mat made. Everything else looks pretty straightforward.
The mat doesn't look very complicated either. Like, honestly,
Exactly.
It doesn't look like. It is, like, there is something important to this. Prices on this Kickstarter do not include shipping. You will have to pay for your shipping later. So to America, you're paying between €20 to €25. In Australia,
So
we are paying between
20 to
30
25
40.
bucks.
So
Which that seems to be a fairly reasonable price for international shipping in my book.
yeah, I don't. It's only estimations, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I just the only thing that it doesn't look like it should be that expensive to ship it to Australia. Yeah, everything is kind of expensive. Although, like, I don't really have a lot of experience shipping from Italy, so it's kind of hard to say from that regard. But I think I think it's reasonable.
You know what? You know what's odd? There's no shipping estimate to Russia.
Oh, how unusual! So there you go.
That's a joke,
I
folks.
really like the look of this. Honestly, I really, really like the look of this.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since we've spoken about Conquest, although this is the second episode in a row that I've said that.
I was going to say, we talked about it last time.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have some desolation drones for the spires. These are new miniatures that are coming soon. I really, really like the look of these. They are all kinds of creepy in the right way. I just think they're really nice.
I'm looking at that 5th anniversary abomination, and that just looks so wrong on so many levels. It's like
It's supposed to.
It's like Slanesh meets not the not the first Pitch Black movie, but the second one where they were, they had the sky things. Bruce, you know which movie I'm talking about? It was the second movie in the Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the franchise.
But like some of that imagery of like the statues and stuff like that, it's some of that, but with Slanesh.
This
and
is the model that he's referring to, just for those that are wondering. It's an updated version of the original Abomination.
With a little bit of Tyranid.
Yeah. They already kind of had those vibes anyway, to be honest. So the Spire is ironically their version of elves, but we don't actually see any of the elves. These are all creations of the Spire. But I will move on to the next one, which is a Savage for the Nords, and that will be the sound of George really, really liking the look of this, I think.
Which one?
The Savage.
The Savage.
I think he was looking at something else.
No, it just kind of came to me. I'm not seeing the Savage.
That's the second link. That's the second link.
Oh, the second link. Okay, sorry. The Desolation stuff.
Yeah.
It gives me the feel of some of the stuff in Pan's Labyrinth.
I could see that. It's a movie I still need to watch.
That's what I was like. It was my correlation. Like, this looks freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, I really like the Savage. The Savage is glorious. So this is a single hero miniature. It is resin, so it's important to remember that. It's an officer miniature. Comes on a base. He has a heroic rock, though. I actually really like this rock, though, to be honest. It's maybe the most unique use of a rock I've seen.
It's an appropriate use of tactical terrain.
Yeah. And it's something that could fit in any basing style. Because it doesn't scream one thing or another.
Yeah, these guys are giving me like a very Norse, but like evil Norse feel.
And then the next two that we're looking at are actually the same kit. We have the Floggerbollen, and I know I'm saying that wrong. And we also have the Scorpios. That one's easy to say.
The Floggerbollen?
Floggerbollen? Flogobollen? I don't know.
Yes.
So it's essentially the same thing. It's a chariot that's being driven by two lions. One of them have a single gun, and the other one has a multi-rail automatic.
It has a Gatling crossbow.
Gatling crossbow. That's a really good explanation. Did you read that?
No, but just by the look of it, with the magazine of the
repeating crossbow.
A repeating crossbow. That's a better way to put it. Yeah, you're right. A repeating crossbow.
So
because of the bolts that are sitting in the magazines.
God, for someone who's about the historical games and stuff, geez.
I know, right? So yeah, it's a dual kit. You can build one or the other. You could probably magnetize this. Honestly, I don't imagine it would be overly difficult.
I think it's just.
You think it's just?
I think it's just like the dude in the gun.
Yeah.
I was sitting here trying to click in between
the pictures,
clicking back and forth between the pages.
Yeah. Realistic. I don't see any reason why you couldn't magnetize this.
Yeah.
Though there may be reasons in game to own more than one anyway. Realistically.
The only complaint I have is, and I know this is still a fantasy game, but regardless, lions are not good draft animals. Lions are great, skirmishing units. They're fast, they're agile, they have claws. Obviously the horses are overdone. Bulls. You could do something like a pig or something else. I get the idea they're trying to go for, but I think a lion is a
it
bad
is
model
probably
choice.
Worth noting that these are all undead miniatures too, though.
Oh, so those are undead. Those look pretty lively for undead lions.
I don't know if the lions are meant to be alive or not, but the city-states are undead. It's undead Greeks, is basically what they are.
Oh, maybe that makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
Rhinos. I'd love to see rhinos as a beast of burden for that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So, at surprise to nobody, Parabellum continue to do glorious, glorious things. If you want to buy stuff from Parabellum, you can use our code, Getting Tabled, and you get 10% off. And I just thought I'd mention that because it still exists, so people could take advantage.
I've been looking at the stuff. I have no one to play with, and I'm in a very small market, but God, their stuff just looks so good.
Yeah, it really does. And moving on one last time. Oh no, not last time. Late War Leviathans. I want to give credit to On Tabletop for this article because they kind of compiled all of this from multiple sources into one article to read, and it made it easier for me to go through. So Battlefront recently released a game called Clash of Steel, which is basically just a tank game. And they are bringing in some of the late war Leviathans into
heavy
Tanks
tanks.
of War. Yeah. So we have the Mouse for the Germans. We have the T-44 for the Russians. We also have the ISU-130 for the Russians. I assume it's ISU and not ISU.
It's ISU.
It is ISU. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
This is all 15 mil, So, obviously, that's why, in the case of that last image, the face is looking a little soft, because it's like this big. Not this big. It's a really simple one, this one. It's a really simple one, this one. Like, they're just getting more use out of miniatures that people are buying. So, it just seems like he's knocking something out of the park for me. Yeah, why not?
Coming
If you
from
have
a guy
something that
who's
exists, why not use it?
yeah, I was gonna say coming from a guy who's not the biggest fan of historical stuff, but if you were to sit me down with like, hey, here's a bunch of tanks, we're just gonna shoot each other.
Yep.
Yeah, all right, I'll roll some dice. You know, like tanks are just cool.
Yeah, tanks are. I wouldn't mind playing just a tank game. Whether Clash of Steel is the game that I would get into is another question, because I don't know enough about it. But I could play just a game of shooting tanks. That could be fun. There's quite a few games that seem to be coming out doing that now, where it's just a tank game. Socks, I hear that you're not a huge fan of this next story.
No, not at all.
Yeah, Bruce, do you think we can find a war host to join the podcast to talk about this game for us?
Well, I mean, maybe we should find a war host that's actually going to stay in the one spot long enough to grow a community. And not leave that community. And not leave that community the moment that he gets it going.
That's a little harsh there, Bruce.
He got all of their hope up with this new game and went,
next week,
guys,
next fortnight, it's going to be back to 2, and it's going to be Yank and George and me. Anyways.
Socks is left in protest. We're talking about Dystopian Wars because Dystopian Wars is awesome.
It is awesome. So these are the May releases. So instead of getting 3 releases in May, we're getting 2. So we're getting some Empire support squadrons. So these are just more support squadrons that you can get for your Empire. For your support side of the battle fleets.
Is that meant to be a shipping platform?
Which one? The big
fire base?
Yeah.
So that is it's going to go on top of one of the small platforms. So the small platforms that you can get in the island campaign, island archipelago sets, as well as the campaign box, the Cyclone of Shadows campaign box, you can put that on top and create a Empire specific platform. Okay. The Union have one with their Farpoint sentry bunker. And so we're starting to see that a little bit more. But you can see there, you've got the 2 little landing SRS tokens.
Yep.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if we see something. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see models of those that have been scaled up to the 15 mil scale that Armor Clash will be, because of I can just see them using the same style of landing tokens as some of their miniatures in Armored Clash in the future. But then you get some nice support ships there, as well as the Hovers of X, the Hexies, and then some escort tokens as well. So really good little support squadron blister that's coming out in May. So that I'm looking forward to. So I don't have Empire, but
glorious.
Yeah. Does the COVID cruiser have Scald?
There's a COVID cruiser?
Wuhan.
Wuhan.
Okay. Yep.
Close range damage.
I don't know if Scald exists in Dystopian Wars.
Bad tasteless joke.
Yes,
it's called Torrent. But yeah, it's a flame weapon. But yeah, depending on the variant that the Wuhan has, I'd have to go look at the Yorbat. But then we also have a new French battle fleet, the Vauban, coming out. And this is their new aerial sky fortress that they have coming out. So really nice looking set. Yeah.
Oh, I like this. It looks like it'll be a horrible thing to balance, though.
It does look like it's going to be a little challenging.
No, the resin's all in the center, so no, it should be okay.
Yeah.
Because the largest part of this is going to be very light.
Yep.
I really like how this looks.
So this is based off the French?
This is the French. This is part of the Alliance. So yes, this is French units.
Are you going to get one of these socks?
I probably will eventually. As you know, I have Imperium and Sultanate, but I plan on getting the Alliance later on. This
Are you gonna put little white flags on all of them?
yes.
Yes,
No.
because this fleet will famously pretend to give in so that they can defeat the
Run away.
enemy from the inside.
Get away!
Yeah.
We
So
will taunt you a second time.
take the time. Yes.
was
So I'm
watching
looking
that
forward
last
to
week.
this because not only do this new carrier comes out, but you also the French the Alliance now finally gets their bomber SRS token. The Freelon bombers are going to be part of the fleet as well. If you look at the big pictures, the bigger SRS tokens instead of the small blisters that have two little fighters on it, it's going to be the one with the single base on there. But then with this comes a new style of skimming ships, the Dieppe Levant cruiser and then the Honor Levant destroyer. So they're getting brand new units as well, not just the flagship itself, but they're also getting new skimmer units within the Alliance as well. So be interesting to see how these come about. I've seen the Orbat for these already. It's not public yet, so I don't want to talk about too much of it. But I'm looking forward to seeing these on the table here in the future.
Can we just quickly
love
mention
the look of this.
how? Yeah, I was gonna say, can we mention how awesome the Valere class Levant support carrier looks?
Yeah, the Valere is pretty nice looking.
I kind of want to say, 50 Leagues Under the Sea. What's the name of that ship?
The Nautilus.
It's giving me Nautilus vibes, but it's a flyer, so
Yeah,
I really like this stuff. This is just gorgeous.
Well,
It does
if you go
feel
off,
very French.
if you go off the Nautilus and Captain Nemo from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, if he would have made the Nautilus fly. So, I mean, look at the car he made before cars were made.
I want to watch that movie again.
Fun fact, that is one of the only movies I still have on physical DVD.
Indie. Definition. Independent. Type. Slang word. Jargon.
All right. I thought we'd have a look at somebody's mini factory. This is Yandro or Jandro 3D. Does some really, really gorgeous sculpts, honestly. I want to start with the Finger Creeper, just because I'm sorry, but it's Thing as a miniature. Why would you not want this? Like, seriously.
It's zombie thing.
I don't care. How could you not want this?
Slitherman looks
awesome.
disgusting.
So the Finger Creeper appears to be like an undead hand from a giant, too. Slitherman is the slug-looking thing, right? Yes.
Yeah, it's 2 over from Fingerman.
Yep.
Or Finger Creeper.
So you are going to start noticing very, very quickly that this is all pretty much really creepy stuff. The Nosfagoi is a terrible name, but a gorgeous-looking bat monster creature thing. This is an aesthetic that you are...
Oh, there's a multi-pack of Finger Creepers.
There is?
Right underneath Slitherman.
Ooh. Oh, when they're even... Oh, I love this so much.
Those fingernails are making me want to throw up a little bit in my mouth.
Yeah, I did tell you, like, these things are creepy. The Grick is, again, glorious. Just all kinds of...
If we go, let's see, Slitherman, Finger Creepers, then 1, 2, 3 more down, we have Desert Troopers. They're not Stormtroopers, they're Desert Troopers.
They're Desert Troopers. Yep, I saw those. And
Yep.
they're...
If those are the right scale, or you could get them printed on the right scale, those would be good alternates for Legion.
So if you look at the top, in one of their bundle collections, it actually says SW Legion. I wonder what that one is.
Well, 35 millimeter, so you would have to shrink them, right? Because that's 20 mil, that game?
28.
It's 28 to 35. So it's right
Okay.
on the same scale.
Oh, it does say compatible with Legion. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah,
And yeah,
and
there's a whole series of Star Wars stuff.
Oh,
Natives
wow.
of the Swamp Planet. Now, which one of us was it that says that they want to play with some swamp folk?
I think it
Though
was
these
some
don't-
guy
these
who
don't look
likes Vegemite on his sandwich.
These
Yeah.
aren't Gungans. I feel lied to.
They are not Gungans. They are not stormtroopers that are designed to operate in the swamp. Wait, there's natives of the swamp planet. What?
Yes, that's what I was talking about. But they're not
Oh,
Gungans.
those are still not Gungans.
Yep.
To be fair, Gungans are pretty distinct,
Yeah, true.
and any attempt to make them would probably get George Lucas knocking at your door saying, "I'm going to sue you."
No, it would be Disney, which is even worse. I just like they're 2 lines down. We have Obi Frog Kenobi.
yeah, I saw that.
Wait, what? Where?
2 lines down from the natives.
2 lines down from the natives. Everything's in a different order for me then. Oh my God, Space Wizard! Jeez.
Yeah, it's right
Oh,
next
okay,
to Space Wizard.
No, it's not on my screen. It's on a different line.
Did you go back
I
to
don't
the
know.
actual main thing, or are you still on?
I'm still in the Legion thing. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So go back to the main page.
I found Obi Frog Kenobi.
Okay, there we go.
I love how he's got a Sand People beat sticks on his backpack too.
It's just
Yes,
amazing.
the gaffy stick.
Although,
and Space Wizard as well is awesome. Guard droid. Boss
I was gonna say the guard
frog
droid
smuggler.
looks dope.
I agree with you on that. The guard droid is brilliant.
Boss Frog Smuggler.
Yep.
Yeah,
So definitely not
the
Yoda.
cane.
I was gonna say that's Lando.
True.
I was gonna say it's
actually,
more like
yeah.
Lando.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with you on that. That is yes. And then we have smuggler frogs. Like we just have like a whole heap of them.
Oh my God, Enforcer droids. Alan Tudyk's character from
Mhm.
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
KSO.
Yep.
What am I looking at?
It's called Enforcer droids.
It's called Enforcer droids.
Right above the Swamp Beast and below the Snow Theme base set. So have a 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down from Boss Frog and the Smuggler Frogs. If you're looking at the main page.
Enforcer droids, found them. Nice. Yeah.
It's not K2SO at all.
No, definitely
Absolutely
not. Why would you
not,
even
no.
suggest such a thing?
It's probably nowhere near as snarky as KSO.
Probably not.
The Swamp Beast is awesome. Heavy repeating cannon. So yeah, like he's definitely got a couple of different themes. I hadn't seen the Star Wars stuff when I added it. The terrain is quite nice as well. I like the dungeon entrance. And the flame pillars are cool. I mean, they're just pillars, but they are cool. The Stone Mire troll. But he's got some really gorgeous looking stuff.
Yeah, the stuff looks really good. Just looking at his the Legion stuff, like you could quite literally almost build. Oh my God, Cthulhu Mythos. Oh, it's just the one guy. You could almost build a couple Legion armies just from this guy's stuff.
Yeah.
Quite easily. And like most of it's fairly affordable, honestly, too. Like nothing here is overly like. There's actually quite a whole heap of free minis in this. The finger creepers are free.
Yeah, the Cthulhu Mythos one that I got excited about. That's it says free model.
Yep.
Oh, there's even a section of just free models.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, he's done really well. There's also like bases for everything, which is just
there's a
standard.
Wasteland Tourist that is clearly not from Fallout.
Oh no, definitely not.
Yeah.
I don't even know why you would suggest such a thing.
Cream, glue, prime, paint.
All right, we're good.
And we're back.
Yay, technical difficulties.
Woohoo!
Fortunately, this would happen at a good spot. So I think we're on
Yeah.
to hobby time now.
We
I
are.
think so.
Cream, glue, prime, paint.
George, what have you been up to?
Since you're grabbing stuff. Very nice.
So I've done a couple more. I'm going to show a couple of the chimpanzees, I think. I think actually, can I do this real quick? Maybe I could do this real quick and get a better effect. Or a better camera. Because I can do this. So here's a couple of the chimpanzees. See if I can get some more light here. There we go. So I'm really happy with how the flesh tone speed paint turned out. I'm not too happy about the bananas. I'm probably going to have to hit them with some actual paint. That one's a little better. But the flesh tone turned out really well on the chimpanzees. Yeah. The orangutan, the pig, I don't know if I showed these off, but that orange came out brilliant.
Yeah, the orangutan looks phenomenal.
So, I've been working on those. Switch back to that. So got a little bit of those done. Was doing some, bulk painting on those, getting all the fur done.
Nice.
Even speed paints still can't break the monotony of, batch painting.
No, but it's not as bad as regular.
Yeah, I will even argue with using droppers and speed paint, doing batch painting is even worse. But
interesting.
Where'd it go? Well, because Games Workshop, right? You got the big pot, you can just keep dipping in there and going.
Which with speed paint is not a problem.
Right, but Army Painter, I still have to drop it out.
Yeah, true.
But Turbo Dorks, their little silicone palette. Lights washing it out. There we go.
Which is the best thing to use for silicon painting.
Yeah.
For regular paint. Speed painting.
Yeah. So when it dries out, you just pop it out and it's clean. So I think it was $6. If you don't have access to Turbo Dork stuff, something like that.
This is a fidget toy.
That's a child's toy.
This is a fidget toy. And you can get them from Amazon for literally a few dollars.
I like that one because it has more than 6 spots on it.
Yep. I would highly recommend this. This actually came... there's a couple of YouTubers that started doing videos on odd things that are great for the hobby. And this is one of the suggestions that came up with. And I'm like, ooh, I'm buying that. The holes are roughly the same size.
I'll see if I can get it through the Amazon's the American side of Amazon.
So I can because
there's paints in here, right? And I can just do that and get rid of it, and it's done.
That's brilliant. Yeah, but for speed paints, because it's absolutely brilliant because speed paints is one of those things where it's like you don't want to have leftover residue in your palette to start working with. You need to have it clean. So
yeah.
I will say the cheap dry brush set, phenomenal though. The $15 for the 5 brushes, totally worth it.
Nice,
good.
So, and then I did get in a game of Cthulhu Death May Die with Sam today. Played the Lost episode from the box that I paid way too much for. Hands down, I think it's probably my favorite episode for the game. Because all the extra add-on figures that are exclusives in that box from the campaign, you use them all in that one scenario.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, so, yeah, we played it using actual Cthulhu. there was a Sogoth and 2 cultists, and then 18 of these guys, and 8 of them were traitors. And you had to like go through the process and find the traitors, kill the traitors, and then you can go kill the Elder One, which in this case we did Cthulhu. So,
Nice.
Nice.
to this day, I cannot find a better board game than Death May Die. It ticks so many of the boxes so well, and I am just waiting for seasons 3 and 4 to get shipped to my door.
Yeah, nice.
So,
next year? When's that due?
Octoberish, I think, is
Oh, okay.
what people are speculating.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can pull up my Kickstarter here real quick so like the big giant like 20 centimeter one that's shipping here really soon because it's just a reprint. So
yeah,
they'll be showing. Then they're shipping it before the rest of the stuff. So pretty okay with that. Let's see here. View all. They're saying. I don't know where they're saying it. Socks, go ahead and I'll interject when I find it.
What have I been up to?
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Trying to get my game room all consolidated and get ready for movers to start packing stuff up on Thursday. That's what I've been doing. So, has been very fun hobby wise. I mean, I went and taught Dystopian Wars on Wednesday. New player got some crown stuff, and so I was teaching him and one of the other players how to play the game since he's never played a game in, and so it's been good getting some more guys into the group locally. So that's what I've been up to. So I plan on keeping some of my stuff.
Try and leave behind.
I know. I don't want to. I do plan on keeping my dystopian stuff and some paints, so that after the movers are gone, I can still do some stuff. So play,
Okay.
not just play, but paint as well.
Nice.
So just to jump back in, estimated delivery was December 2023.
Okay.
But we're looking possibly at probably October. There was a couple of issues. And I'll give all the credit to Simon on this. They were running into an issue with their little comic book stuff, which is like, tiny little things in comparison to like a full-blown game, and they halted all shipping to get the production figured out before they continued on anything. So
the thing I like about Simon, and this is coming from somebody that is one of their very big critics, thank you, is that whenever they have issues, they are always very open about it. Even if they don't have the answers to how they're fixing things yet, they're very quick about, hey, we've had a problem with this.
Yeah.
We saw that with Masters of the Universe with some of the ruins. They had to completely redesign them.
Yeah, so and I'm not too overly concerned about that. I've got other things coming like what was it? It's supposed to be shipping here like any minute now. The Metal Gear Solid board game.
Okay. Yep.
So, yeah.
My turn then.
Yeah.
And I might possibly be backing. I've got a pledge in. I don't know if I'm going to let it go through for the God of War game they're doing.
I'm going to turn my light on and ruin my lighting because it's the only way I can. Get things
we can see your face better now.
So
it's a Crutox.
Have been building my Crutox and everything. This is actually one of the rampages, sorry. So this is something that I haven't done for about 8 or 9 years. Both of you should know what this is, because I did say something in the Discord, but you may not remember.
You expected me to read?
So this is me spray painting stuff. As opposed to, I've been having issues. I've been having issues with my airbrush. I stopped using spray paints a long time ago. I, generally speaking, never recommend spray paints. I've always had issues with spray paints. I know that there are some people that swear by them and will never use anything else because airbrush primers don't really work as well as, like, they're not as strong as spray paint primers, essentially. So I bought myself a can of Gracia last week, and I kind of said to our Patreons that I will try to have opinions by next recording. Honestly, I did this last night, and it's not the warmest over here at the moment. There's our crew talks, by the way. One of two. And I, honestly, I've had no issues with... The spray paints have significantly improved since I last bought them. And I know that this shouldn't be news. I mean, it's been said a number of times that the spray paints have gotten better. But I will sit here and I will fight for airbrushes every day of the week, despite the problems that I've been having. Because they're just a superior product. They are a very annoying product to use, but they are superior.
Well, and I know what the game talk is, so we could talk about that later. My question is there a particular reason why you went with gray for your primer?
Yes, because of the color that I'm painting.
Okay. Because I know there's either, you use white for the primer or you use black for the primer. I don't run into too many folks that, I'm using gray as my primer unless they're using it in a dry brush facility.
Well, the original contrast line had two primers, right? You had Gracia and you had the bony color, whatever that one was called.
Yeah.
Wraithbone.
Wraithbone, thank you.
Yep.
And basically the idea was that the Gracia gives you a colder tone underneath your contrast, and the Wraithbone has a warmer tone underneath the contrast.
Okay, so you're going to try to do these in contrast then, essentially.
No, I'm not. I'm actually painting these traditionally. For example, if I can get it to show properly. So this is I'm going for a very teal.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which looks nice.
It's the very first time that I've ever wet blended anything. I'm actually really, really happy with the quills in particular. Ironically, when I was painting this skin, I actually messed up the color triad that I was using, but I really like how it looks. Which it just means that, hey, I can go between them and it still works, right? I have 4 different color triads that I plan to use for the skins, depending on what I'm painting, and they're all kind of in that teal, aqua, turquoisey type colors. The only thing I don't like at this stage is I hate the back of his cloak, and this will be probably the 4th time that I'm going to repaint the back of that now. Realistically, I'm probably going to stick with blacks and browns, and just keep the color on the inside. I actually quite like the color on the inside, which is very much in the blue side of the turquoise color. And I kind of had something similar, but a different shade of it on the back originally, and I didn't like it because it kind of just felt like it blended with everything else. There was too much of it. So I instead flipped it, and I had the reddy orange on the back, and then the tealy on the spines, and I was like, yeah, I don't like that either. So,
quick question.
Yeah.
Your crew talks, the actual beasts.
Yep.
What color are you going to be painting them?
They are going to be the dark. They are going to be the blue. They are going to be darker than everything else.
Could I recommend considering like the cloaks, the leather hide material on the warriors, incorporate some of that color into them?
That was the original idea, but it's just it ends up becoming too much turquoise. So I'm going to be I'm going to be making it like it's going to be like the tan brown, like the leather type colors, so that it looks like they have actually colored it.
That's fair. I was like, like what better way to, make the leather than, the leather of the actual beast that they're using. So
these miniatures also, by the way, are phenomenal. Like I'm really, really happy with them.
Yeah.
And given that, hang on, where is it? So these two are essentially the same kit. Well, not essentially. They are the same kit. These are your 2 crew toxes. The
Yep.
only difference between these two is the faces. And it does make them look drastically different already. Now,
Mhm.
there is actually a different gun that you can build it with as well, but I don't want to use the other gun. I like this gun, so yay. Otherwise, what else have I been doing? Nothing much, really.
Talk nerdy to me.
I am going to try really hard to not turn this into a rant. So, there's a few topics that come up in every YouTube video, every hobby group, all the time. And I'm going to use probably the most common one as an example. But we're not just talking about this. We're talking about all of this stuff. So whenever anybody, I don't care if it's Duncan, I don't care if it's Peachy, I don't care if it's Anga Haraldas, whenever anybody has a video that includes airbrushes, everybody that doesn't use, not everybody, a lot of people that don't use airbrushes turn around with this whole stupid claim of that airbrushes are cheating. This comes up at Warhammer tournaments all the time, I know as well, where the people that paint by hand try to claim that the people that are using airbrushes are cheating. Because they've either never developed that skill or don't want to develop that skill and just consider it cheating for whatever reason. It's a stupid hobby claim. It's just moronically stupid. There's a lot of these things. And it's just like, hobby is hobby. Everything in the hobby is a tool that you can choose to use or not to use. So I just kind of thought, let's discuss some of this stuff. I'm kind of hoping that you guys will have examples as well. The airbrush is kind of the obvious one. Expensive versus cheap brushes is probably the same discussion. Contrast being a cheat is another one.
To say a certain thing is a cheat, I think is an excuse or a cop-out.
I would call it gatekeeping too.
I wouldn't even call it gatekeeping. Oh, it's cheating that you use an airbrush. Why? Because you suck at airbrushing or because you don't have an airbrush? It's one of those two things. That's what they're going to say. Oh, using contrast is cheating. Why? If it looks just as good, I'm still sitting down. I'm still using some skill to try and replicate this. Because let's be honest, some of that speed contrast painting they're doing looks freaking amazing. You can't do that without some level of skill or talent.
Also, to be fair, in the case of the speed paint / contrast argument, it doesn't look the same or as good. Like, you can generally tell if something's been it's harder with speed paint because it still dries matte. But you can fix that with it. You can fix that with a matte varnish.
Yeah.
And some well placed highlights. If you control it right, which is a skill, then it can look really good. Washes are considered cheating in regards to pro painting.
Yeah, look at the orangutans there, right?
Yeah.
That's dry brushing contrast. That's really hard to tell. I mean, that looks like really good. Like, I'm way better than I am painting.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what I said. The people who are saying this is cheating or you shouldn't be doing that because that's not real, these are just people that don't have that or don't have the skill for that, and they are jealous, and instead of appreciating what you can do, they dislike you for it.
Yeah.
The biggest problem when it comes to this hobby is what?
Time.
Gatekeeping and people who go through a rage when the lore is changed to what they don't like anymore.
There's been a lot of that lately.
Like female custodies.
I was very tempted to talk about that today and decided not to because I didn't want to get hate and death threats. Because my opinion on that will get me death threats probably because I disagree with most of the internet on it. No, I was leading to what Sock said, which is that time is a factor. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but some people work really hard for a living. Some people have very physical jobs that don't allow them to sit in their rooms and paint
For hours on
endlessly
end.
for hours on end. Some of us
Well-
have real lives. And
Well,
I'm sorry, but contrast really helps with that. Isn't playing and having fun the only thing that's supposed to be important here?
Well, here's another thing to consider too, right? So here I am. I'm hanging out with y'all. I'm talking about this stuff. I'm having a great time.
Yep.
Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, I am in this very exact same position, earning my paycheck. What happens when I hobby? I simply move over here.
Yeah.
I don't like existing in this one room all the time. So my biggest issue is I have to get out of here, go over to that side of my house, and do other things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most of the work actually that I was doing on those apes, I was at the dining room table working on them while Casey sat across from me while she was doing her nail dip stuff swatching.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
going
ahead,
back
Fox.
to the contrast stuff, I haven't started my Gettysburg stat yet.
Yep.
But when I do, I'm gonna have, I can't even remember the number, but I know it's over 100 sections of infantry of about 5 inches long. I'm not gonna want to paint those with regular paints.
No.
I'm gonna want to do contrast because
It's also arguably
15
not
mil-
worth the time painting them with regular paints.
no.
Socks,
And-
could I make a suggestion for you there too, real quick?
Yep.
Don't try doing contrast on those first thing. Do like a little starter kit at Dystopian to get a feel for contrast.
I've used contrast before.
Oh, you have?
already.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not just talking the portals. I'm talking like actually using contrast in the way like it needs to be used. Because there's still so much I'm learning about just doing this little like Blood Bowl team.
Yeah. No,
Like,
it's not just the portals that I've used contrast on before. I've used it on,
okay.
I've used it on other stuff. But no, I agree. It is, contrast is very much a learning curve, just like our original topic.
It's a
Airbrushing is
different skill entirely.
it's a very much a different skill. And you guys know that I have an airbrush. Have I used it in years? No, because I haven't developed the skill and haven't found ways to spend the time to develop the skill.
Yeah.
You guys know that I have 5 kids, and most of the listeners know that I have 5 kids. When I get home from work, I want to spend time with the family. And I don't have a setup like you do, George. And so when I pull out paint and I pull out my airbrush, I don't have a nice setup that I can just go out and clean it real easily. I have to break it all down, and I have to put it all away so my kids don't get into it. That's one of the biggest reasons why I haven't done anything with my airbrush in years, is because I have young kids and I don't have a nice setup where I can just leave it set up other than cleaning it after each use.
Because it takes you 40 minutes to an hour to set it up. Which is
and about twice as long to take it down because I have to clean it afterwards.
No, yeah. And I think this, those statements go back to that guy,
Yes, very much so.
So not to point fingers, but they're like, oh, you can't use those. Those aren't legal yet. It's just a casual game. Well, they're not legal yet.
Oh, yes.
I
was going to bring that up earlier. Yeah, because we were talking about this.
I guarantee you that person probably, has some sort of comment of, contrast is cheating or airbrush is cheating. I would not be surprised if that person also has a similar stance to that as well.
You're using the same army that you used last year. What, you're not a real hobbyist?
Or, probably thinks female custodies is a dumb idea.
Yeah. And look, don't get me wrong. We've discussed this in the past as well, things in the law changing. You know what the problem is when you don't own the law? It's not your law. The person that owns the law can do whatever they want with it. Every time something like this happens, there's this thought of, but now they're going to ruin the law with female space marines. Which is, A, not the same discussion, because custodies are not space marines. They're not supposed to be space marines. You're comparing a Ford with a custom-made, one-of-a-kind vehicle that was made by hand. It's not the same conversation. And this is... George, you know how easy it would be for them to change the Space Marine law?
Yeah, they could say, "Oh, actually, it's this way now."
Well, it's even easier than that. Like 40K, most of the knowledge that they have is misunderstood and unknown. And
Oh yeah, that's fair too. Yeah.
that they have scratched together what they can make work, and it's myth and legend, and most of what we know about the history and how the Emperor did things is myth and legend. Oh, we just misunderstood this. It was totally possible the whole time. That's
And
as easy as... If they wanted to do female Space Marines, they would have already done it. Because they would have sold gangbusters. They haven't done it. They're not going to do it because they don't want to. They don't need to.
Also, Bruce, it just occurred to me, that's why the CFO sold off 700,000 pounds of stock, because they announced female custodies.
Yeah, that's been one of the things that fans have been going on about.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, that's really one of the arguments people have made, that
God,
she's
people
that
will
upset
just-
about it.
People will believe just about anything, won't they? My
It's
God.
ridiculous. So I think part of the problem is that some people will make these claims trolling those that are saying it, but the problem is that they just sound like each other half the time. So look, George made comments earlier about how you include us in this, but like, don't just blindly listen to what people say on the internet. If you want to use a tool for your hobby, go right ahead.
Do it.
Like, if you are entering a pro painter competition, then no, don't use washes. Don't use contrast paints, because they will get looked down upon, because it's a different area of the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Washes are notoriously a no-no in pro painting, because you're supposed to have the skill to do the shading yourself by hand. That's the whole point of pro painting.
Yeah.
But in your army, do whatever you... I mean, if you want to spend pro painting time on an entire army, you will never play with it. Because A, you would never risk playing with it. And B, you'll never finish a single squad.
Or C, when you do get it finished, they'll obsolete your army and you'll have to start over again.
Yeah. So, like, I didn't want this to be a rant, because this is actually something really important. This stuff is supposed to be stopping. We're supposed to be better.
I would say you're not ranting. If there's any sort of rant, it goes back to that guy.
Yeah.
If you want to airbrush, if you want to learn to airbrush, do it. Absolutely. Airbrushing is awesome. The best thing about an airbrush, which is like the smallest percentage of an airbrush, you can get yourself some airbrush primer, and you can prime your army inside whatever the conditions are outside, and it doesn't matter, because it is not affected by any sort of weather conditions as long as you are in a livable environment.
Yep.
Period. If you want to use contrast because you don't have time to sit there and wet blend and all that stuff, use contrast. If you want to do it this way, do it that way.
If you want to turn up to a 40k tournament and the TO has given you permission to turn up with a grey army and has just told you that you will just lose all of your painting points, that's perfectly fine. It's not fine to do it without asking the TO. But if they've said it's okay, it's perfectly fine. Because A, there's probably a reason for it. And if the person on the other end of that table is going to have a go at you for that, report them to the tournament organizer. And I mean this. Report them to the tournament organizer. Because the organizer of the tournament, the manager of the store, can't do things about these people if you don't say anything. I know that people don't want to dob like you would as a child. But if they're doing this to you, they're doing it to everybody else as well. And the other thing they're doing is turning people away from the hobby. These people need to have it explained to them that this is not okay. It's probably worth noting that some of these people don't realise that they're that guy. they genuinely either think they're helping you, which is just moronic, but some people are that dense, or they think that they're giving you advice that's helpful. They don't realize that they're being that guy. Because nobody wants to be that guy. Even that guy doesn't want to be that guy.
I've met a couple
George
of those guys.
referred to a conversation we had privately earlier. There was a Tau player that was turning up with the new codex to have a casual player, a casual game at a store.
The crew. Yeah.
I don't know if it was Kroot. It was Tau.
It was Tau. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
And there was a competitive scene happening at the store at the time, which he wasn't taking place in. And he was setting up, ready for a game. Oh, are you here for the competitive play? No, I'm playing with somebody when they're finished. Or we're just having a casual game. Oh, but you're not allowed to play with Tau because that's not officially released yet. No, I'm just having a competitive game. No, but you're not allowed to play with them. They're not official. And this just went on for like 10, 15 minutes. And this guy got rude. This guy got abusive. It was just... And the guy approached the group with like, this is what happened. Have I done something wrong here? Have I approached this the right way? Because he's worried that he's like... Because the other problem with that guy is responding to that guy is nigh on impossible too. Because you can't win this argument. Most of them are trying to piss you off. They are deliberately trying to get an anger response out of you because then they win. You become the bad guy automatically. And the only advice I really had for this guy was that just quietly mention it to the store owner. Don't make a big deal out of it. What you've done is fine. You've explained it. He doesn't want to listen. That's his problem. Because he hasn't done anything wrong. He's literally there for a casual game.
Yeah.
With a person that knows what he's playing with.
Yeah.
It's been
for
organized.
Sure. So, I think going back to the original topic, though, is just like, you know, if you want to do a skill or try a technique, do it, learn it, master it. Because guess what? If you get really good at it, in 2 to 3 years, you could have, you know, a couple dozen people be like, hey, how did you do that? Can you show me? Because trends change, things change, and maybe you've gotten good enough to where people are like, holy cow, this guy knows how to do something. I'm going to learn from him. So, if you can afford an airbrush, get an airbrush. Learn how to airbrush. Do it. If you don't have time for normal painting, get contrast. Get good at it. Make phenomenal looking minis with contrast. And,
George, and socks for that matter too, when contrast first became a thing, do either of you remember what we hoped was going to happen?
We pooed on it really bad.
No.
Well, I did. I remember pooing on it pretty bad.
But the other... well, actually, no, I do remember you being... But we also said we want to wait to see what people do with it. We want to see...
Yeah.
We want to see people do things with this that it's not designed for. Which happened about 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Slap chop. It was never designed for that.
Yep.
And that's the way you should use those paints, period.
It's so much better, yeah.
Well, I mean, even just, you know... Where's one that... Yeah. I mean, just look what it does for, like, the stuff I haven't even painted yet. You know, like...
Yep.
That looks so good. And I haven't even done anything with it except for just dry brush the hell out of it.
You can also get similar effects. I would probably argue better effects, personally, with the zenithial highlight or using an airbrush. That is how most of my speed painting had been done. The stuff that I got complimented on most was done with the zenithial highlight, where it's just essentially it's a heavy dry brush but with an airbrush. So you could definitely do that with a spray can too.
Yeah.
So that's Game Talk. I just thought it was an important discussion. Like, there's a lot of things in this hobby that not everybody uses. If you're being attacked over your part of the hobby, it's your hobby. This makes them the bad guy. Just don't give them the reaction that they're trying to get out of you, because they're baiting you for it.
Tournaments, demos, conventions, that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff.
Starting with the Melbourne Figures Painters Collective. That is... it's not always the last Sunday of the month anymore. They've been changing it up. I believe it's going to be in May because there's a tournament taking place on the 19th, so it has to be the last Sunday that month, I think. But they haven't officially announced the date in May yet. Continues to take place at the gaming arena from 12 till 5. They're getting decent turnouts too, actually. From everything that I've been seeing, they've been having some pretty high-level painters turn up as well. So if you're someone that wants to learn, I would argue that this is something that you should be getting along to. The Nunawading Wargaming Association has their Saga tournament coming up at Blackburn RSL on the 19th of May. May Malifaux is happening on the same day at the gaming arena, which I should be at. I'm still not 100% sure yet. I might have a clash. This weekend is ARC, which is the one that I've been going on about how we need to make a really good showing of this. From everything I've heard, it's been a really good weekend. Obviously, I'm not there because I'm doing other things. Also, no games that I was playing are there. And the UK Gaming Expo is really, really close. There is a Rumble Slam tournament that's happening there that if you're a fan of Rumble Slam, you should definitely be part of. It's at NEC Birmingham from the 31st of May until the 2nd of July.
June,
sorry. Yes.
that's a very long expo.
That would be a very long expo, yeah. Very expensive, probably. George, where can people find... Oh, tell us about Valhalla Hobby, George.
Valhalla Hobby is this cool little store in Verona, Wisconsin. They have all your normal stuff, but then they have the stuff that's not so common, like Bushido. You could get the complete Army Painter Speed Paint set there, like I did. You can get Dystopian Wars starter kits, like we did for socks.
Yep.
What else have we done there?
Blacksite Studios stuff is there.
Blacksite Studios. You could even get
Moonstone.
Magic the Gathering cards and
Yep.
starters from there as well. I did look at there when they announced the Doctor Who Time Lord Commander decks. I was like, ooh, that would be worth having. I've got a history of Magic. I don't. I'm not the hardcore addict in it like I was, but like there's still some things I can appreciate, like Doctor Who Commander decks. They have the less often advertised and seen games, and because of that, that's what makes stores like that great, is because they don't care about what's hot and great. They care about the hobby itself and what is available for it. So if there's something you can't find, go check them out. They'll probably have it. And if they don't have it,
too.
and yeah, really good prices. And stores like that, if enough people talk about something and they don't have it, they'll start looking into it too. That's the kind of store they are. Because that's why they have Blacksite Studio now, is because you were talking about it and they like the look of it. So
Yep.
Definitely check them out. As we mentioned at the top of the show, if you use the code TABLE at checkout on an order of $100, you get 5% off one time only. So, if you can't support them, they do support us. So please support them so they will continue to support us.
Yep. Please do. We get no kickback from that. It's just something to give back to the listeners of the show, and so that they can track, how much this is worth it to them. If you enjoy what you do, please consider supporting us. Like, share, and subscribe. Obviously, share us with people that you think would enjoy us as well. If you'd like to contribute in a more financial way, you can do at patreon.com/gettingtabled. $2 a month gets you early access to all of our video content, with very rare exceptions. There are very, very occasional videos that go through instantly. At the moment, there's currently 2 Dystopian Wars videos that have not been released that are still there and able to be watched by our Patreon. If you want to find the links to anything that we've discussed in the most recent episode, you can find that on our website at gettingtabled.com. There is a link that says podcast, and it'll have the links to everything that was discussed in the most recent episode. Facebook.com/gettingtabled is our most active social media. We are also on Instagram and Twitter at gettingtabled, but Facebook is our most active. Facebook.com/gettingtabled. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. All of our video content can be found at youtube.com/gettingtabled. So the video version of this podcast will come out on Thursday. That's where you will be able to find it. If you want to watch it before then, you'll have to join Patreon. If you want to reach out to the team...
Wednesday in the US, just...
Oh, Wednesday night, yeah. If you want to reach out to the team with something that you'd like to hear our opinion on, or a topic that you'd like us to discuss, or a game that you want us to have a look at, gettingtabled@gmail.com. Reach out. Always happy to have feedback or anything, honestly. I'd love to get more emails, honestly. We don't get a lot of it. Discord, there is a link that will be showing on the screen right now. Or you can just click on the one that's in the description and join our Discord. There are a couple of channels that's exclusive to Patreon, but otherwise it's free reign. Like, seriously, join up, get the discussion going. It's a very supportive community. It's a small community, but it's very supportive. They are wonderful.
If you do join Patreon, you can listen to us live when we do this, which...
Correct.
That is very true. You can find me at Twitch. I am doing it casually, but twitch.tv/JasonTheBruce. I casually play a few things like Star Citizen. I occasionally do hobby stuff. I have Sniper Elite 5. I've got the Xbox. Like, there's a few things that I do. Follow me and you'll get notifications when I'm going live. If you're also somebody that's into action figures, you can also check me out on Toy Reel. That's not just me. It's a team that I joined late last year. Content coming out regularly, a few times every month. There's live shows. I do quite a few unboxings for them. So check it out. Toyreel.com. YouTube.com/Toyreel or @Toyreel on Instagram. Thank you, Socks.
Yep.
George was here as well. Thanks, George.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For listening to Getting Tabled. Music used in this podcast was created by Eric Matyas at soundimage.org.